Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Everyone, welcome. The topic for today's discussion is Rabb, a divine attribute. And further details can be seen in these two references. The scope of this presentation. This will cover those aspects which are related to the manifestation of the traits of Rububiyyat by us in this world, that is, by human beings. It is not possible to quote all the verses in which the term Rabb appears. Hence, this should help in figuring out this aspect when we study the Quran as a system of deen. In today's presentation, as we know, it has to be brief. What I've done is I've given some indications and pointers, and we can, when we study the Quran, this hopefully should help to figure out ourselves that what is being discussed in a particular verse. Most of us are aware of it, but it's just a reminder. The Quran describes all those duties and responsibilities which mu'mineen need to carry out in this life, and Allah declares this to be a companionship in which He is the senior partner, serving as a model for the human self. Understanding Rabb and its manifestation helps us to carry out these responsibilities and to understand the prerequisites of the system of deen. So the point we should keep it in mind is that Allah has taken over certain responsibilities in relation to human world. And all those responsibilities we as mu'mineen have to carry out in this life. And Rabb is one of His attributes which, when we manifest, it facilitates carrying out those duties and responsibilities. Over here, I'll be sharing some quotes from a book which I have quoted before as well, which is Atomic Habits. And I thought it is quite interesting. The normal behavior of the tribe, when overpowers the desired behavior of the individual, there is a tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the group. The reward of being accepted is often greater than the reward of winning an argument, looking smart, or finding truth. Most days we would rather be wrong with the crowd than be right ourselves. So what he says is that we want to conform with the crowd in which we live. And that goes for the nation state as well. The human mind knows how to get along with others. It wants to get along with others. This is our natural mode. You can override it. You can choose to ignore the groups or to stop caring what other people think. But it takes work. Running against the grain of your culture remains extra effort. So if the crowd is going in, let's say, towards the north, so going towards the south against the tide of the crowd is a massive challenge. When changing your habits means challenging the tribe, change is unattractive. When changing your habits means fitting in with the tribe, change is very attractive. So if we want to change because the crowd is changing, then it is easier path. But if we want to change opposite to the crowd's the natural flow is, then it becomes very unattractive. Humans everywhere pursue power, prestige, and status. We want to be acknowledged, recognized, and praised. Historically, a person with greater power and status has access to more resources, worries less about survival. This is the reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. We try to copy the behavior of successful people because we desire success ourselves. So we have gone through some of these aspects previously as well. There is a success defined by the Quran, and there is a success defined by the man-made system. Over here, this author is obviously talking about the definition of success which the man-made system defines, which is related to power. The Quran invites us to recognize al-haq first and then firmly remain on it. This is taken from this book. Now, I have quoted over here certain verses as an introduction. First is increase in knowledge linked to Rabb. فَتَعَالَ اللَّهُ الْمَالِكُ الْحَقُّ وَلَا تَجْعَلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يُقْضَى إِلَيْكَ وَحْيُهُ وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. This is a very interesting verse in which Quran says that high above all is Allah, the Malik of Haqq. Be not in haste with the Quran before its revelation to you is completed. That is, unless we go through most of the Quran and understand the overall context of the system of deen, we will find it very hard to understand what role we are going to play in it. And the Quran over here says is in relation to this, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, O Rabb, advance me in knowledge. So Just see, Rabb has appeared over here. So increase in knowledge is related to Rububiyyat. وَلَقَدْ أَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ مِنْ قَبْلُ فَنَسِيَ وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا. And over here, the Quran says is we had earlier taken the covenant of Adam, which is, we know is metaphorically noted as a story, but he forgot. We found on his part no firm resolve. I picked up 2 points here. First is knowledge of the Quran is essential for the system of Rububiyyat. There is no shortcut. We have to understand it. Second is Adam can remove his weaknesses of forgetfulness and lack of resoluteness through the obedience of Wahi. So that is another important point Quran points to, that Adam has inherent weaknesses because he thinks that the life will end with death. Whereas Quran invites us to a life which goes beyond that. So there are two opposing point of views. So Quran over here says that you will get strength if you walk or get guidance of Wahi. Next verse is Rabb in relation to setting scales and providing guidance to creation. Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la allazi khalaqa fasawwa wallazi qaddara fahada qala rabbuna allazi ata kulla shay'in khalqahu summa hada. Now these are the verses which set the scene that human beings and whatever Allah has created, that has certain scales and that has been given a certain destination or the point of completion. So be firm on the attribute of Rabb, the Supreme, creates everything by giving it a particular form and provides balance, then gives it its potentials for further development and guides to its completion. And then over here I have summed it up through a verse in which Hazrat Musa is replying to Pharaoh and says, our Rabb has created everything and then guides it towards the path leading to its destination or completion. Now, this presentation will cover the following aspects. First is root of Rabb. Then there will be few slides of general interest. Some verses on the attribute of Rabb, manifesting the attribute of Rabb in our daily life, and that is the important part. Some related verses covering some aspects, and then I will conclude it. Now, the root of Rabb is given here. It means to provide nourishment, nurture, and development, i.e. making something pass through ever new transformation so that it reaches its completion through gradual nourishment. This method of development is called Rububiyyat. So whatever Allah has created, it has to grow through certain stages, certain phases to reach its completion. Our seed takes time to become a fruit tree and then bears fruit. Same is applicable to human life. Ibn Faris has stated that its basic meaning is, number one, taking care of something and making it balanced. From this, our Rabb is called owner, creator, taking care of something, and the one who reforms. Number two, something to remain established and remain firmly at one place, and joining something with another thing, hence providing nurture with continuity and keeping it right is called Rububiyyat. So please keep these points in mind. We already are aware of it, but keep these in mind as we go through the rest of the presentation. Now, there are applications as noted in Lughat al-Quran, and I've taken some. It's quite a big write-up in Lughat al-Quran, so it will help if we can revisit it. First is sleep, comfort, and interval of peace is related to nurturing of a child. Resolution of some matter and setting it right and then establishing it. So in relation to solving problems. Collecting something and then keep multiplying it. Very important. It is the creation also comes into it from the things which have already been provided to us. Those perennial plants which do not wilt in any weather, related to nourishment. So it must be sustainable and should persist in terms of providing benefits. That land which has an abundance of plants and trees and remains evergreen. Abundance of the means of convenience. So, which also means that we create more conveniences out of it. A big Jamaat, numerous dense forestation. Fresh, clean water in abundance. A leader of a nation is called Rabbul Qawm. Owner of a house is called Rabbul Bayt. Elder brother is also called Rabb. So from here we can see that Rabb has a very wider connotations and has a lot of importance in our life. And in terms of understanding the Quran, if we understand it, then it will help to expand the meanings of various verses. So we remember Pharaoh also said about himself that Ana Rabbukumul Ala, that I am your Rabb actually in every respect. So whatever Pharaoh controlled in that land, we should keep that in mind. And Rabbul Qawm over here explains it all, what is going on in the world. Rabbani, scholar possessing ilm, universal rububiyat, establish an Islamic society. So that is the other side of it. Now, what I've done over here is I have, just to create interest, I have drawn some pictures to explain the physical creation which follows laws, and the scales are precisely defined. These are some seeds here. We know there are seeds and they have a potential to grow into whatever they are meant to grow or whatever they are meant to become. Over here, the seeds are being planted and then the seed grows. We can see here first stage, second stage, third stage. Up to the third stage, we don't know even if the seed is growing, that if it is growing, it's not visible. And then the fourth stage, we can see it gradually, and then it starts becoming a plant. And then it bears fruit, and we are aware of it. And then the Quran says, draw their attention to the outer world, the stellar bodies, the galaxies, and says everything is following physical laws. And then we can see that a lamb becomes a sheep. So that is what rububiyat is, that from a lamb, what it is supposed to become is a sheep. And then, of course, it has certain utility value. And in the case of human beings as well, we also go through a cycle, and which is that fertilized egg, then it becomes a fetus, then it becomes a baby, then it is a child, then it grows up, and then ultimately we die. So that is a physical cycle through which we go through. And of course, before the fertilized egg, we know about the evolutionary stages. And over here, I have put in another picture just to illustrate it further. Now, we will look at some ideas on the purpose of life. What I did was that I Googled it and I said what others say about the purpose of life. I came up with some interesting phrases. One was, why were you born? And this question some children do ask. Why was I born? Why did you bring me into this life? Second is, happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. So over here, whoever has written it, he thinks that it's the main purpose is happiness. Next is, of course, he hasn't defined the happiness. The purpose of human life is to show compassion and the will to help others. Nice. Over here, benevolence is a very high state, and it is the ultimate purpose of the human life. Can you see? We can see a soldier here who has invaded another country, and then he has made these children poorer, and now he's trying to extend some help. If we remember verse 2, Surah Baqarah, verse 85. A purpose of human life, no matter who is controlling it, is to love whoever is around to be loved. Love is another term which people frequently use. Again, one has to define it. Main purpose of human life is which God is worthy of worship. This is a religious concept, and we know what it means. The purpose of life seems to be to torment human beings with the question as to what the purpose of life is. This is another view. And over here, something from President Harry Truman. Human life is something that comes to us from beyond this world, and the purpose of our society is to cherish it and to enable the individual to attain the highest achievement of which he is capable. Again, we don't know what he is capable of, but anyway, he was the president, he had to say something. Participate in life fully. Experiencing self-awareness and inner peace enhance life. They are not the goal of life, nor are they a replacement for living life. So over here, he says, participate in life fully. Again, something more has to be added to it. And then Big Bang, and this is the purpose of life, then rest in peace. Next is the purpose of life is a life of purpose. Again, we have to define our purpose. And finally, never mistake the state in which you have fallen with your value as a human being. And I thought this sums up whatever is noted over here is that one should value his own self as a human being. But then we have to create a world where human beings should be valued the way Quran says. Now we will look at some of the verses which point towards the case for rububiyat. And we know Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So that is how the Quran starts. Of course, first is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then it says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, and that it ends up, the beginning of the last chapter is, Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas, that I seek the protection of the Rabb of mankind. Then it says, Ulaika ala hudan min rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. Right at the beginning of second chapter, the Quran says that, puts down certain aspects and the traits of muttaqeen, and then it says that they are the ones who are guided and by Rabb. And then is Ya ayyuhan nas u'budu rabbakum allazi khalaqakum wallazina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. And over here, mankind is addressed in the 21st verse of Surah Al-Baqarah. Follow the guidance of your Rabb who created you and those who came before you, so that you become muttaqi. So over here, the Quran has drawn our attention to our creation and of the creation of the previously, and the whole purpose is to become muttaqi. And we know muttaqi is an extremely powerful and comprehensive term of the Quran. Allazi ja'alakumul arda farasham was samaa binam wa anzala minas samai ma'an fakhraja bihi minas samarati rizqan lakum fala tajalu lillahi andadan wa antum ta'lamun. It's quite an interesting verse. If we get a chance in Mutalab al-Furqan volume 1, this has been discussed in detail. A lot of aspects come before us, which Allama Parvez has discussed over there. Over here, Quran first draws our attention to the outer world, and then it says once it comes to distribution of those resources which Allah has made available for us, that is all the hydrological cycle and then what comes out of the earth. Because basically everything we get from the earth, all means of sustenance come from the earth. And then Quran says, Fala tajalu lillahi andadan, that don't set up partners, don't set up those people who divide you, who are dishonest, who have vested interest, and as a result create problems. And I looked at the root of this word, which is nid, and nid means those individuals who try to divide you and attract to each other. That is, attract towards one another. That is, if there are two people, each one will try to attract our attention towards that. As a result, they cause a rift in the world. And that is why Quran has brought it against Allah, that if you come toward Allah, you will have one model in front of you. If you go towards human beings, then they will divide you, cause you problems, and that is the chaos and conflicts we see in the world. Wa antum ta'lamun, and of course over here the Quran draws our attention to gaining knowledge about it. Next is, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قَالُوا أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ قَالَ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So in relation to over here, the Quran has pointed to the creation of Adam, and the Quran says, we have gone through this verse previously as well. The point I'm trying to draw our attention is that what is the relationship of Rabb to Adam? Because right at the beginning, Quran has said that all means of sustenance were placed in the earth, and then whatever Adam was going to need in his earthly journey, in his physical journey to this life, through which he had to develop himself. And what the universal forces pointed out was that he's a kind of a person, because he's going to use his choice and intent. So he's going to create some problems as well. But Allah countered it and did not disagree with Malaika, but instead he said, Inni alamu ma la ta'lamun, that I know what is the purpose of this creation, and we know the potentials of Adam. Then Adam made an error of judgment together with his companion. فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ إِنَّهُ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. And part of that rububiyyat, part of that was to also teach Adam that how to go back. If you have made the wrong choices, then you can always go back and take the right path. So over here, Quran says, then learned Adam words from his Rabb, and he turned towards him, for he is oft returning Rahim. So that is how Quran says that Allah is Tawwab and Rahim, and same way we should be. That in our own world, we should try to give enough respite to people so that they can mend their ways. Now over here, then Quran says, قُلْ نَهْبِتُ مِنْهَا جَمِيعًا. And then a general clause is added here that now you will be living in the world, all mankind. And since you'll be all together, there are bound to be problems, just the way Malaika pointed, that is, yufsidu fiha wa yasfiku dima. So if you want to avoid that, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَن تَبِعَ هُدَايَ, that definitely we will send you guidance, we will send you wahi, we will send you books. And if you follow them, then فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, then you will have no fear and your word will be free of huzn, all types of grief. So this is an important point here, that what Adam has been told is very clearly that if you make wrong choices, then there will always be option available to you to come back to the protection of wahi and then make your life and direct your life in a different direction. Now over here, there is another aspect of defining of the role of Rabb. Allazina yazunnuna annahum malaku rabbihim wa annahum alayhi raji'un. And this is about mu'mineen, that who bear in mind the certainty that they are to meet their Rabb, which means they know that there's a law of requital working, and whatever they are doing, they are accountable for that in this life as well as in the hereafter. And then they are to return to him. And returning to him means in this life, for everything we do, we go back to his laws. And it also means that we are going to be in his presence in the next life, inverted commas. وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. Now this verse is in relation to what Pharaoh was doing towards Bani Israel. And of course, all pharaohs do the same to others, and particularly if they are minorities. So what Quran is saying here is that, remember, we delivered you from the people of Pharaoh. They set hard tasks and punishments, degraded your intellectuals and promoted incompetence. Therein was a tremendous trial from your Rabb. So it looks, the way these translations are done, that as if it is a trial from Rabb. Whereas Quran is pointing to the state of the world at any point in time, that if you find your situation like that, then you should come back to the system of Rububiyat by manifesting that attribute within your own self and try to understand it first and then mend it. And I've put down these points here. The law of requital and its functioning related to Rabb is given here. We need to display our character firmly in this regard, hold ourselves accountable, also inform others, and be firm. Because the whole effort should be to understand the way system functions, that is, the human man-made system functions. Because if we understand that, then we will understand where we ought to be, where should be in the light of the Quran. Absence of deen will create these conditions. So these conditions which are created here by Pharaoh because of absence of deen, bring forward those who are competent and display a strong character and determination. This is very important, that we should bring people, identify them, who are willing to tread on this path and who are willing to sacrifice. They have discipline and self-control and self-restraint. Rabb here is related to getting out of the difficulty and then relying on competence in every respect, i.e., all divine attributes should be manifested which are applicable to humans. So that is what Quran is trying to draw our attention, that if you want to, because Azim also means at a very fundamental level, you should understand it. Now, some more verses here, connection of Allah with Rabb, because both terms are used. Once Allah is used in the Quran, and then we come to Rabb as well. Allah means all attributes, well, all his attributes, even those attributes, which are applicable to his being, and which human beings cannot acquire. Of course, that is strictly there for Allah, because he is infinite. Inna allazina amanu wallazina hadu wan nasara was-sabiina man amana billahi wal yawmil akhir wa amil la salihan falahum ajruhum inda rabbihim wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun. Those who have Iman, and the Jews and Christians and Sabians, any who have Iman in Allah and the hereafter, and do salih deeds, shall have their recompense with their Rabb, and on them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. This verse sometimes is misquoted by some people, and think that the first part says that anyone who is Sahadu, Nasara, Sabi'in is qualifying for this reward. That is incorrect, because that is strictly against what is stated in this verse, as well as the overall message of the Quran. What Quran over here is saying is, man amana billahi, very clearly. It says, whatever you are, you have to come to this conclusion that you have to have iman in Allah and in the hereafter, and then do saleh deeds. That's very important. If we want to manifest these two parts of our iman, then we have to do saleh deeds, and then they will get that ajr which is with their Rabb. And Rabb means system of rububiyyat. The system should come into shape right in this world. Wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun. And as a consequence of that, the khawf and huzn created by man-made systems will disappear. Ma yawaddul lazina kafaru min ahlil kitabe walal mushrikina an yunazzala alaykum min khairin min rabbikum. Wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha'u wallahu dhul fadlil azim. Now, this verse is very interesting. Again, it is never the wish of kafirun among the people of the book, nor mushrikeen, that anything good should come down to you from your Rabb. These verses are very important when we want to manifest the attribute of Rabb in ourselves. We have to understand it as well, so that we are not in doubt about people who haven't come to the Quran. So their psyche is different. They may not display that, but we have to keep it in mind. That is part of ourselves, our process of self-development. But Allah will choose a special rahmat as per His Mashiach, for Allah has supreme fadl. And fadl, we know, is related to all the bounties which come from the system of deen or from Allah. Now, Bala man aslama wajahu lillahi wa huwa musinun falahu ajruhu inda rabbihi wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun. And the Quran over here says, nay, whoever submits his whole self to Allah and is muhsin. Again, muhsin comes doing the balance deeds. He will get his recompense with his Rabb. So again, related that what we do over here, first the law of requital and then balance, and then whatever we do is related to Rabb. On such shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. See, wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun comes quite frequently in the Quran. And we should pay that attention that what is coming before that, which can lead us to these two particular effects in our life. Now, Rabb in relation to glad tidings. وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا وَوُضِعَ الْكِتَابُ وَجَاءَ بِالنَّبِيِّينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. Again, this verse has been quoted before many times, myself as well as Dr. Hamid. And what this verse says is that, and the earth shall shine with the nur of its Rabb, the book will be placed, Anbiya and the witnesses will be brought forward, which means that they will come as witnesses. And they will become witnesses. If the system of deen is established, then they automatically become witnesses because the way came through them. And a decision will be announced based on haqq, and they will not be treated unjustly. So beauty of the system of deen is that all decisions are not left to human beings, but they are based on what is stated in the Quran. So those decisions are made within the values of the Quran, and nobody is to be treated unjustly. وَوُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا عَمِلَتْ وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا يَفْعَلُونَ. And to every self will be paid in full of its deeds, and He knows all that they do. So manifestation of this attribute in us also means that we have to be all the time aware, people with whom we are dealing, and that includes our own self as well, that they get the recompense of whatever they do. The system should make sure that everyone is proportionally gets rewarded. The points to note here, rububiyyat exists in the outer world, and when it comes in the human world, a new world will emerge where all decisions will be in line with the book. The messengers came for this purpose. So that is related to the first verse. Second is the hallmark of this system will be justice and to be recompensed for what every self does. In relation to the law of requital, I've quoted this verse, Man amila salihan fale nafsihi wa man asa'a fa'alayha wa ma rabbuka bizallamin lil abad. This point has also come before us previously, and Dr. Hamid also covered in his presentations, that Allah does not do injustice to anyone. It is human beings who do injustice to themselves. And if you remember, Allama Parvez said that if human intellect fails to find the cause of something, that is a failure of the human intellect. So in the human world, everything happens through human hands, and we need to see that how did we contribute to something which has resulted into something which is negative or positive. Innal lazina qalu rabbuna Allahu summa istaqamu tatanazzalu alayhimul malaikatu alla takhafu wa la tahzanu wa abshiru bil jannati allati kuntum tu'adun. Those who say our Rabb is Allah, they are saying our Rabb is Allah. From Rububiyyat to Allah. That is, first they have developed their self by manifesting this attribute in their own self, and then they recognize the significance of Allah as their model and further stand firmly and steadfastly. Malaika descend on them. So they get that strength in their psyche, which gives them elimination of fear. They understand that why fear is created in the world, why people are fearful. And they also learn why they are grieving, why they have huzn. But receive the glad tidings of the Jannah, that which you are promised, and they can see that where they are going, where the system, when the system of Deen will come, what kind of a Jannah it will create. Now, few points in relation to this. First is manifestation of this attribute means no injustice to anyone. Extremely high level of accountability and to let everyone know about it. So we should be very clear about this accountability all the time, and we should warn others as well. It's not a warn, actually. Knowing law of requital and then asking others to follow it, it is to their own advantage. No one is to be left unwarned. Even now, we need to share this with everyone across the world. Because Quran says that nobody is destroyed unless they have been warned. Manifestation of this attribute should lead to inner strength increased as we display more of it. It leads to understanding of the psyche of fear and grief in the world. Now, over here, I've drawn a schematic based on what is discussed so far. Allah with all divine attributes as noted in the Quran, right at the top. Then is Amr leading to Khalq, to Bari, to Musawwar. We discussed it under Khalqiyat. Adam appears in the universe with a self with choice and intent. So Allah created the whole universe and the earth, all the means of sustenance, and then Adam appeared. Hence needs guidance plus divine attributes, and Adam had a choice and intent, so he needed guidance. And he was provided right at the beginning. The attribute of Rabb was explained to him, a divine attribute which applies to all aspects of Allah's creation and its purpose, including the human self and its journey through this world. Human self invited to understand it and then manifested to get the best out of his life. Its understanding and manifestation will lead to the manifestation of other attributes. So Rabb is an extremely powerful attribute of Allah, and then other attributes are linked to it as well. We remember Khalqiyat, we have discussed it, and then Rububiyyat comes in, and that is where it helps us to understand the system of Deen. Over here, I have quoted a verse here, Kul aghair Allahi abgi rabban wa huwa rabbu kulli shayin. Wala taksibu kullu nafsin illa alayha. Wala taziru waziratum wizra ukhra. Summa ila rabbikum marji'ukum fayunabbi'ukum bima kuntum fihi takhtalifun. A number of points are covered in this verse. Say, shall I seek Rabb other than Allah? Kul aghair Allahi abgi rabban. When he is the Rabb of all things, huwa rabbu kulli shayin, that he is the Rabb of everything, because he is the one, through this attribute, he's decided what each of his creation should become, what is their role. And in the case of man as well, he defined it very precisely, accurately, and in detail. And over here, the next one makes it clear, wala taqsibu kulli nafsin illa alayha. Every self draws the meed of its acts on none but itself. Law of requital explained. No bearer of burdens can bear the burden of another. So this is another permanent value, and we need to understand it and then manifest it. The way I should act is as if I'm all the time responsible for what I'm doing and I'm carrying my burden. And I should be aware of my own burdens as well in life. Your goal in the end is towards your Rabb, which means that what you are supposed to become, you should become that. And in our case is Sirat-e-Mustaqim, and keep moving on ever new evolutionary processes and keep developing. He will tell you about things wherein you differed, but if you kept differing with each other and you had differences within your own self, then of course these will also manifest before you. Of course, if there is a chaos and conflict in the world, then everyone is, those who are living there and created the world are also divided inside. This cannot happen that if I am divided within me and I can create unity outside. That is against the law of requital. Now we come to the central part of this presentation, manifesting the attribute of Rabb in our life. Over here, I have put down some points which I thought were important, but we can add a lot of more important points in this because the whole Quran, right from beginning to the end, is talking about various aspects of human life and human personality. First is understanding the purpose of human creation and then being able to communicate effectively to others who are looking for guidance. So this is part of our displaying the attribute of Rabb. Fully conversant with the responsibilities which Allah has taken on himself as detailed in the Quran, and Mu'mineen to deliver these through a formal commitment as noted in 911. If you remember in Surah Tawbah, Quran says that Allah has purchased our life as well as possessions. So that is where we are making a commitment. And then his responsibility is to, in return, give us the ownership of a Jannat, a paradise, or the system of Deen. Under this agreement, Mu'mineen carry out these responsibilities and Allah gives them their rights. This is a binding contract. We agree with Allah. And it's also, if we look at Surah Al-Fatah, and then in verse 10, this is also reflected there. Promote good and forbid evil. This is how we identify issues in our life and learn about the world around us. Very important. This is the responsibility of Jamaat-e-Mu'mineen. At an individual level as well, we should avail this all the time, look for opportunities where we can forbid evil and promote good. We apply the law of requital to every aspect of our life and assess others continuously based on their words and deeds. So this is also part of manifesting the attribute of Rabb, that we should be aware of the law of requital all the time and also assess others. There's sometimes people say, oh, nobody has a right to judge others. Forget about it. We always judge others as well as our own self. Never say those things which you do not follow through with action. Very important. Quran calls it a very major sin or major deficiency in our character, that if we say something and do not follow it. This is applicable to both individual and collective behavior. For example, if Tulu Islam makes a commitment, it must fulfill it. Whatever it stands for in words, it must remain firm on this, no diversion from the path. So if individually we are doing that, then collectively we also must do it. And we should be a witness on each other if something is not being followed within the Quran. Whatever we say should be the same as in our hearts and mind. Now, this is something I thought is very, very important, that we should be all the time aware at every point that what I'm saying to others, there is a unity within me, that my heart and mind is also saying that what I'm committing is my commitment. Unity of thought, no hypocrisy, must remain aware of it all the time. And if a mistake has been made at some point in time, it can happen at an initial stages of self-development, we must rectify it. Understanding the precise scaling in the outer world, within the human world and the human psyche. We have gone through it under the presentation of Khalqiyat. This trait we have to manifest. Next is know what resources are available and make these available for the good of others. Do not wait for people to ask. The self develops higher if we firstly spare resources and then remain on the lookout for the needy. This is very important. Allah did not keep all the resources on another planet. And then when we prayed to him, he sent those resources from the other planet for our use. What he did was he made those resources available to us right at the outset. And if we fail to take advantage of that, then that is our problem. Allah has made it very clear that everything on this earth and in the universe has been subjected to our control. It is up to us to make use of it. Same should go in our own world. If we have certain resources, whether at an individual level or collective level, we must make it available to larger mankind. At an individual level, if I've got some spare resources, which includes my wealth, my education, my physical energies and time and whatever I have, I must make it available to others. If I have, and if I am waiting for someone to come to me and beg for it or ask for it, that is wrong. That is inadequate development of ourselves. That is the point I'm trying to make. Minimize needs to the level of a common man. Possessions so spared to be made available to others ASAP. Because the point over here is that we have to, if we are thinking of manifesting the attribute of Rabb, then we have to think like a common man and then minimize our needs. And then as a result, if whatever we make available, then it should be made available to others, not wait for that and accumulate it. This is an important point to understand. It's a very difficult thing for me to say, but I thought I'll commit to it and let everyone know. Because if, for example, if I died tomorrow and I had something which I intended to give to someone and did not do it, then that means I will not have the benefit, or myself will not have the benefit of making that available while I was living. And this will come in a verse later on. Allah as Rabb has made everything available in the world for all creation, including man. Manifesting this attribute means we need to do the same, even under man-made system, earn maximum and then make maximum available for the cause. Aim is to become aware and then develop self for the system of deen. I hope this point is clear, but we can always discuss it under the question and answer session. Even under the capitalist system, whatever our capacities are within what the system allows, we should try to maximize our income, but then make it available as well. Don't hold on to that. Give precedence to the needs of others if possible. This is a very elevated level of manifestation of this attribute. This, of course, is under the system of deen. And sacrificing for someone's others' needs is one of the highest attribute which we can display under this attribute of Rabb. Reject man-made system completely at the level of intellect. No ifs and buts. Taghut needs to be unacceptable. Otherwise, a heart and intellect with some sympathy cannot work for the system of deen. If we have any sympathy for the capitalist system because we are a beneficiary of that, then we will not be able to demonstrate or manifest this attribute of Rabb to that extent which we will do in case we do not have any sympathy. So this is that kind of a problem with the human psyche, that we should understand that if we want the system of deen, and I want myself to be manifesting the attribute of Rabb, then this system has to be rejected completely, despite the fact that I am a beneficiary of it. Manifestation of the attribute of Rabb includes focused thinking about the plight of the poor across the world. All human beings are exactly the same, i.e. physical body and its needs, desires, emotions, feelings, memory, intellect, and I. Displaying this understanding is a need of this attribute. Allah is Rabb of everyone. So if we want to demonstrate that attribute of Rabb, then we should keep it in mind that I am representing Rabbul Alameen. I'm not representing Pharaoh, or I'm not representing half-heartedly Iblis as well at the same time. Once it means Rabb, it means Rabb. Mu'minin should view the word similarly. Next, our part of this aspect is to know all those aspects of the human psyche to which the Quran draws our attention. For example, man looks for quick results. Doubts arise in human hearts, no doubt. Doubts come in. We sometimes think that the man-made system is so strong, how are we going to do it? He is impulsive, greedy, different states of nafs. We know about these. The Quran has pointed to, for example, 3 states of nafs. Overcoming all these is part of this process of development of the self. So all those limitations which are associated inherently in the self, which we inherit right at the beginning from childhood, we have to overcome them. And that is how the new self grows. Uniting with those who are on this path is part of this manifestation, as noted in 3:103. Tasimu bihablillahi jami'a wa la tafarraqu. We have talked about it many times. This commitment to the path called mustaqim is not only for one day, 1 month, or 1 year. It is for the whole of life as well as in the hereafter. And there is the pleasure associated with that. When we manifest the attribute of Rabb, the change which comes within us, we can check it in the light of the Quran, its growth, its development, its outlook, its birr, its expanse. So all that becomes extremely pleasurable. And the signs do appear where we see things start become changing within our own self as well as the world around us. This includes understanding that there is no compulsion in deen. And the fact that we cannot force anyone, meaning we need to fully understand what it means to have Iman and how it links to solid deeds. Another aspect of manifestation of this attribute is regarding performing solid deeds as swiftly as possible. A deed which is done at leisure, even if there was a chance to do it earlier, will not give a higher benefit to the human self. So in terms of deeds, we should be swift we should do it as quickly as possible, because then that desire which is created within us to manifest the attribute of Rabb, that gives a multiplied effect on ourselves. We need to keep in mind that in the system of Deen, things are to be done on the human time scale, not on the natural time scale. So we should not think that since Allah has said that his one day is equivalent to 1,000 years of human life, that it's okay, I can do it in 10 years' time or 20 years' time. That means we will lose those 20 years. Continually bearing in mind the life in the hereafter is part of developing ourselves. The deed of today has an impact on our tomorrow, as Quran says in Surah Hashr. Next one is perseverance with patience and steadfastness while gaining knowledge of the world in which we live and applying Quranic understanding to it to figure out solutions. We know the wrong around us and we need to formulate solutions and the process for dealing with it as and when power comes our way. Part of this attribute is to remove all dissonances within us. First is, of course, we should recognize that there is something wrong within us and we have problems. And then, of course, trying to get rid of it. Be absolutely clear about our aim of life, and then to have no differences with those who are also holding on to the rope of Allah. Not to let any doubt and suspicion come between us. Developing a very clear understanding of how Allah as Rabb gives life to the dead. If you remember, Hazrat Ibrahim asked Allah that how do you give life to dead? Example of Ibrahim, I've quoted the verse here. This aspect is essential to manifest as this helps to grow and strengthen our inner resolve. So we also need to know under this attribute of Rabb that how to give life to the dead. Once we were dead as well and we gave life to ourselves. We were not aware of all what we are discussing now in our previous life. Now we are discussing that. Important for coming together and in education, training, and self-development. So this is an important part of it, that giving life to death is a process in which we have to learn and manifest. In dispensing help to others, we need to see it as a means to develop ourselves and never influence the choices of those whom we help. Guide if they seek our help, otherwise leave them alone to figure it out themselves. I've seen it that sometimes people help others and then they also want to control their lives. That is wrong. They have their choice, whether they waste the money, that is not our problem. What we need to do is guide them if they want it. If they do not, just give and move on. This is what Allah does. What He has done is He has given us the means of sustenance and then left it to us to make our choices. So why do we wish to carry burden that, oh, I gave him money and he's wasting it? You gave the money, forget it, and then move on. That is what Allah does as Rabb. And that is what we have to learn to do it. That give it and then move away. Because aim was not only to help him or her, but the aim was also to develop ourselves for the system of Deen. These individual charities and dishing out of money right and left is not going to change the system. But this will change ourselves, which can become eligible for Allah's help for the system of Deen. That is the point I'm trying to convey. If in our opinion they waste it, let them, but do not stop helping them. This is part of learning patience and tolerance in acquiring this attribute. And we should see this verse. It's very clear. Getting involved in trivia, we lose the bigger picture. Why carry the burden of something which is not my burden? My burden was that the wrong system, that is the capitalist system, put some extra money in my pocket. So what I've done is I've got rid of it by giving it to the first person, needy person, and then forget about it. If I'm carrying that thought with me, that was not the purpose. That thought will then, of course, will become my burden and will affect my psyche. Those who have access due to the wrong system, we are practicing to get rid of it, i.e. learning it and reducing our physical and intellectual burden. So please see this verse as well. And finally, never feel abandoned by Rabbil Alameen on this path. That if we are following this path, we are manifesting this attribute of Rabb, then we should not feel abandoned as well. Signs of our efforts do materialize. Darkness leads to a dawn. We should read this surah 92, and it's very, very interesting. It needs a lot of deep reflection. Now I'll go over to some verses pointing to some tasks of Rabb. This is a verse from Surah Anam 6:151, and it says, "Qul ta'alaw atlu ma harrama rabbukum alaykum alla tushriku bi shay'an wa bil walidayni ihsanan wa la taqtulu awladakum min imlaq nahnu narzuqukum wa iyyahum wa la taqrabul fawahisha ma zahara minha wa ma batana wa la taqtulu an-nafsa allati harrama Allahu illa bil haqq zalikum wassakum bihi la'allakum taqilun." I'll not go through the translation. We have gone through this verse before as well. These are those things which Allah wants us to do. That means Allah has taken responsibilities for these things, and now He's asking Mu'mineen to do them on His behalf. What He says at the end is, "La'allakum taqilun." If you use your intellect, you will understand it. In the next verses, "Wala taqrabu mala yatime illa billati hiya ahsanu hatta yabluga ashuddahu." So in relation to orphans, we know about yatim and miskin, there is frequent mention in the Quran. "Wa'awful kaila wal mizana bil qist." Again, towards justice, Quran is pointing our direction. "La nukallifu nafsan illa wusaha wa iz qultum fadlu walau kana za qurba wa bi ahdillahi awfu." So Quran over here is asking us to make a commitment now. Zalikum wassakum bihi la'allakum tazakkarun. And what I've done is the tasks which are pointed in these two verses, I've summarized them. Task as Rabb is, don't do any shirk. Don't associate anyone. Because if you associate anything, then of course you will not get those results. Ihsan on parents, rizq to children as they are weak and they are growing up. The system needs to provide them risk, and risk includes everything. Take notice of spread of all kinds of evil. Be very, very alert. No killing except by haqq. Again, this is the responsibility of the system, not of an individual. Use of intellect is included in that. Yatim and his rights. Honesty in business affairs, very important. Increasing expanse of the consciousness, that broaden your horizon of your thought process. Watch out conversation and words. So everything is accountable. Commitment, agreements, covenants, and dhikr as part of practice. There are 12 points covered here. See also these verses for more details. Then is Mamalakum la tuqatiluna fi sabilillahi wal mustad'afina min rijali wan nisa'i wal wildan allazina yaquluna rabbana akhrijna min hazihil qaryati zalimil ahluha waja'alna min ladunka waliyan waja'alna min ladunka nasira. Again, if we look at this verse, has also come before us before, and those people who are looking for help, they are calling Rabb. If we see that verses in the Quran are related to Rabb, and why should you not fight in the cause of Allah? So it is in the path of Allah we are fighting if we are helping them, and we can't help them unless we have a system. So this is very important for us to understand that if there is injustice in the world, responsible are Jamaat-e-Mu'mineen. And because we don't have Jamaat-e-Mu'mineen, this state will continue in the world. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kunu qawwamina bil qisti shuhada lillahi walau ala anfusikum wal walidayni wal aqrabaina in yakun ghaniyan aw faqiran fallahu awla bihima fala tattabi'ul hawa an tadilu wa in talaw aw turidu fa innallaha kana bima ta'maluna khabira. So again over here Quran is pointing our attention towards doing justice, and it has explained it in such a detail that this verse alone becomes an evidence of the Quran being from Allah, because no human being can ever write like that, will never direct, because if it is own self involved in that, they will always try to find some way out of accountability. So what Quran is saying is those who have accepted Iman stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even against your own selves, or your parents, or your kin, whether it be rich or poor, for Allah can best protect both. Follow not the lust lest you swerve, and if you distort or decline to do justice, verily Allah is well acquainted with all that you do. So manifestation of Rabb means that we must be just to others as well as just to our own selves, and that is how we should develop ourselves. Now over here I've quoted some verses which point to the cause and to the future. Allazina iza aqtalu ala الناس يستوفون وإذ قالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون. If you remember, these are the verses from Surah Al-Mutaffifin, in which the Quran says that those who, when they have to receive by measure from men, exact full measure, but when they have to give by measure or weigh men, give less than due. That is, the system is so corrupt that when they have to give to someone, they always give them less. And when they want to extricate, they extricate maximum out of other human beings. And as a result, what they do is they do not value them as human beings. That is the point. If we remember that those quotes which I got from Google, at the end it says that your worth as a human being. So that is the point over here, that every human being has the same worth because it has choice and intent. لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. So it is related to that. أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُم مَّبْعُوثُونَ. And these people do it because they do not hold themselves accountable, because they think that the life will end with death and they can do whatever they like in this world. Do they not think that they will be called to account? This is the basic reason. If human beings know that they are accountable, and if they're doing wrong, they will try to hide it. And these people who are in a position of power, they do it because they know nobody can catch them, nobody can hold them accountable. Le-Yawm Nazim, that Quran says that it is not that this word is left alone and nothing will happen in it. No. Yawma yaqumun nasu li rabbil alamin. If you keep doing wrong, then one day human beings in general will stand up against the system. If there is no Jamaat-e-Mu'minin, never mind, then at an evolutionary scale, then human beings will rise up. And of course, when human beings rise up, then there will be some chaos. Over here, I have selected some verses which are pointing to human psyche. Ya ayyuhan nasu qad ja'atkum maw'izatum min rabbikum wa shifaa'un lima fis sudur hudam wa rahmatul lil mu'minin. And what Quran is saying is that there has come to you a direction from your Rabb addressed to whole of mankind and healing for your hearts. And this second part, I will link it to Mu'mineen, for those who have Iman, a guidance and Rahmat. So it provides strength to our psyche. When we display this attribute of Rabb, then all those points which I noted down earlier, and of course, all those which are in the Quran and not covered today, they all gave us strength and they gave us extreme power, and they actually make us aziz. Then is al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum atmamtu alaykum ne'mati wa razaitu lakumul islam deenan. So Quran over here beautifully sums it up that now the beauty is that you have been given complete deen. It has been completed. The Quran is complete. You don't have to go outside it. This is a ne'mat. And we know what ne'mat means. If we should look at the meanings of this root. And it has such a wideness in it. It's beautiful. وَرَزَيْتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. And that is how you will get the benefits of being Muslims and from Islam. وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَكُم مِّن قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتُ فَيَقُولَ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ رَبِّ لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي فَأَصَدَّقَ وَأَكُن مِّنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. This is the verse which I referred earlier, and it's quite interesting. What it says is that make available the rizq to you during your life, which have been, Quran always relate to, Allah always relate to himself, because every means of sustenance he has provided us, and we are acquiring it through our own efforts. And all that rizq, which Allah relates to himself, he says that whatever is available to you, you should try to distribute, to make it available to others as well before your death comes. So that means you should know that death is coming. All Mu'mineen should know all the time that death is coming, and they should be fully aware of it. In fact, this is one of the ways of developing self. And then you say, that means if you have forgotten about it, what will happen is, فَيَقُولُ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ, you will say, regret, oh, I wish I had spent more. I wish I had done it earlier. Because the earlier we do it, the greater our self develops. Rabbi laula akhartani. See, again, Rabb has come over here. And it says, Rabbi laula akhartani fasaddaka wa akum minas salihin. That I would have benefited more had I given it earlier, had I made it available to others. I delayed it because of my own doubts about my own security. about my own means. Or atal mala ala hubbihi, there is always some kind of an affection as well towards whatever we possess. So this is important that we should keep this in mind in manifesting our attribute of Rabb. Over here is severe accountability related to Rabb. These are some very interesting verses where Quran, again, like I said earlier about Yatim and Miskeen, Kalla bal la tukrimun al yatim, wa la tahudduna ala ta'amil miskeen, wa tuhibbun al mala hubban jama. There is another verse over here about inheritance. I have excluded that, and we can look at it, in the Quran. And Kalla iza dukkatil ardo dakkan dakka. So Quran says that this producing of yatim and miskeen in your word is not infinite, that you will keep doing and nothing will happen and we'll leave it for the hereafter. It says, no, your word has certain scales. Once you cross those scales, then there's an intervention. And that intervention is what you do in this word. So it is linked to the accountability, that is human accountability. And then Quran over here says, Waja'a rabbuka wal malaku saffan saffa. See, now Rabb over here has come in terms of also the bad consequences of our deeds in this life. And we should be aware of it as well. As and when the system of deen comes, we will act as witnesses, as judge on others. We have to hold others accountable as well while we are holding ourselves accountable. So manifestation of this attribute means that I hold myself accountable 100%. And I also hold others accountable around me, whether I can do something about them or not. But at least at a theoretical level, we should be aware of what is going on in the world. We should not wait that then Allah himself comes, that is Rabb himself comes with that attribute and his malaika, Saf and Safa. Then, of course, a new world will emerge from the ashes of the old world. Point to note, fundamentals defined to invite our focus to the real issue of human world, i.e. creation of yatim and miskeen by gross unequal distribution of wealth and resources. Manifestation of the divine attribute as Rabb is given over here. And finally, this verse, we have shared it before as well, and I thought I'll conclude our today's presentation with this verse, Lais al-birra an tawallu wujuhakum qibala al-mashriqi wal-maghribi walakin al-birra man amana billahi wal yawmil akhiri wal malaikati wal kitabi wal nabiyyina wa atal mala ala hubbihi zawil qurba wal yatama wal masakina wa ibn as-sabili was sailina wa fir raqabi wa aqamis salata wa atuz zakat wal mufuna bi ahdihim iza ahadu was sabirina fil basai wad darai wa hinal bas ulaika allazina sadaku wa ulaika humul muttaqun. I'll not go through the translation, but I'll go through some of these points which I've noted here in blue. Facing east and west will never solve any problem of human life. We know it. It's evidence-based. Intellect and reasoning needs to be developed to a very high level of bir so that a moment self emerges, which then proceeds to carry out these salih tasks as a means towards the system of salat and zakat, then making a firm commitment leading to the system, may have to face hardships and difficulties which must be borne patiently and courageously. Thus, those selves emerge which are sadaku and muttaqeen. So that is how we bring out those selves which then go on to run the system of deen. Conclusions: the creation of the universe and the creation of man is a deliberately planned, carefully thought out, creative phenomenon to which the Quran draws our attention. The divine attributes as outlined and referred to in the Quran draw our attention to the concept of Allah required to be comprehended by us in order to help develop ourselves. Thus, understanding is intrinsically linked to understanding the need for the system of deen. Rabb as a divine attribute is frequently mentioned in the Quran in relation to duties and responsibilities which Allah has taken upon himself, and it draws the attention of Mu'mineen to carry out all these as part of the establishment of the system of deen. By manifesting this attribute, that is the attribute of Rabb in ourself along with other attributes, we acquire a self which enables it to comprehend the Quran at a very elevated level. And thus we acquire the bir which leads to delivering these duties and responsibilities which are clearly laid down in the Quran from beginning to the end. So essentially all the duties and responsibilities which Allah has taken on himself, they are from beginning to the end. And it is our job to decipher them, understand them, and then willingly come forward to say, here I am, Allah, I'm going to do it. Thanks for listening to this presentation. And now we go to question and answer session.